So, a fresh build video. I have not done one of them in quite some time. Jesus, what's wrong with me? But anyways, I'm back and I've decided to squeeze in a little build video before the end of this year. Not sure if I'm gonna make it, but I'm gonna try to give you a little New Year present. So, you see all these? Let me get it closer. Jesus. Relax, dude. You see all of these? These are the leftovers from the project I was doing recently for the client. I was making like a deca wall from a thick timber, and the only available timber with the size I needed was 5 meters long. So these all are just cut-offs from what I was using for the project. Look at these guys. They are so beautiful. I think if I had a house, I would probably come up with like 100 things that I could make from these, but unfortunately I don't. And the first thought obviously was to use them for firewood, but using such beautiful pieces for firewood would probably be like the dumbest thing ever. And I was thinking like, what should I do from them? And I realized that I could make a nice bench from them. This is my current workbench. I use it almost every day and it's like nice, but you always want something nicer, right? Considering that my shopmates over there recently got a full-size format saw. It works for the small shop, but having a saw attached to the table just doesn't work for me anymore, but it used to work. So anyways, I'm building a new workbench. I think I'm gonna take 14 of these and I think I'm gonna use a all thread and put it through all of the 14 pieces and glue and just screw them together. And then I think I'm gonna use a CNC machine to get a smooth surface on the top. I think I will have to remove like probably 1 or 2 centimeters. This will probably be the thickest workbench ever. So first of all, I'm cutting all of the pieces into a more manageable size. I'm leaving a little bit extra so that later I could square it up to the tabletop. I'm drilling 3 holes into each one of these beams, and these holes will accept the all thread later on. I'm gonna use this first piece that I've cut it and drilled as a template to make all of the other pieces. Now I'm going to apply a thick layer of wood glue into each gluing surface. And then I'm just sticking through the all thread and squeezing it as hard as I could possibly get it. I've used an M12 all thread and you can get really tremendous amount of force with an all thread like this, and it squeezed my wood really hard. So I left it to dry for a couple of days and then we could bring it on to CNC. Luckily, we have this manual forklift thing and it helped us a lot. That raw piece ended up being so freaking heavy that it took us 4 people to bring it on top of our CNC machine. So that facing operation went quite smoothly and we successfully removed about 7 millimeters from each side, and so the final thickness ended up being exactly 18 centimeters. So this is what my table is going to look like. I was too lazy to draw the casters, but you can imagine them here. That super thick top looks kind of ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. We will have to assemble it and see what it's going to look like. I think I'm gonna weld the frame right now. I'm gonna have 4 legs and 1 cross section here. I wanted to keep as simple as possible. It would be nice to get the mounting plates laser cutted, but I don't think I'm gonna wait another like a week or 2 to get some parts laser cutted. I think I'm just gonna have to use my trusty angle grinder and make some dust right now. This is the one. really big and heavy skateboard, this one. So what you see here is the bottom side of my table. I chose it to be the bottom because this side's got a lot more cracks and gaps that needs to be filled, and I really don't want to do this, so this is going to be the bottom. And you can see this big notch here. So I thought that I don't want to be wasting all this thickness of the table for nothing, and I thought that it would be kind of cool to have a little drawer inside the tabletop. It would make it the top a little bit lighter, and yeah, some additional little storage for some quick access things. I thought that I could cut this notch quite easily on the CNC, but this operation took like 3 hours to do, and I couldn't use the vacuum attachment for our CNC, and it was like really messy. And now I don't even know, it's like 10 or even more hours on the CNC to cut this like notch that I want. Maybe I should go back to the classics and use a circular saw and a chisel. And of course, the classic method is called the classic for a reason. It worked so beautifully, and I've removed about 8 centimeters of the material in roughly 2 hours and saved like a whole day of CNC just making lots of noise and dust. And I ended up having a lot of wood to start my stove. Sorry, I'm just trying to learn how to speak here. And after I removed most of the material, it was just a quick pass on the CNC router, and it was done. It actually ended up being a lot less heavier than it was in the beginning, and we loaded it onto the frame that I welded earlier. And yes, our neighbor came to take a look at this masterpiece. So next I've had to square off the edge, and I plunged it at first to give me at least some guide, and then it was just a tedious just hand saw. And about 17 days later, I've cut both of the edges off. So next, I've glued some caps to cover the holes from the old thread. And I filled some gaps on top of the surface with a wood glue as well. So I've cut the edge yesterday with a hand saw, and quite surprisingly I did quite a good job, but not as quite good of a job as I would like. It's alright, but it's not perfect. And I was thinking of a way to fix this edge and make it 90 degrees to the top. And I've came up with a little sled jig for the router. And I've already done the other side. I'm gonna show you. This is the sled. It just slides on these 2 pieces of metal I've clamped here. And it's like really straight. Now I'm happy with this edge. And check this out. Boop. Yup. That's what I'm talking about. Yup. Perfect. I've had this void, this little mistake that I've made on the back side of the table, and I decided to fix it with just a simple piece of the same wood, and I've glued it in and sanded up later, and it actually worked quite good, and it's almost seamless fix. And now I'm going to pretend that this is not the first time I'm using the hand planer. But anyways, the hand plane worked just beautifully to remove the excess glue from the top, and then it was just like an hour of sanding and the bench was ready to be covered with some oil. Finally, I'm going to have a surface in the shop that's completely flat. This is the first time. Even my welding table is by far not as straight as this tabletop. I wish you could have touched that. It is really nice to touch. I don't want to use the dark stain. I really like the fact that it's really bright, so I'm just gonna use the regular linseed oil to stain it a little bit and make the grain pop up a little more. I'm applying just a regular linseed oil to protect the wood a little bit, and it also smells really nice. And the finishing touch to the table was this little drawer, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to keep there, but it's good to have some extra storage than not having it. So I have my little drawer now in place, and to make it look a little more nicer, I found this piece of checker plate in my pile of metal, and I think I'm gonna use this checker plate to put here. It's going to cover the slides and it's going to sit nicely and flush with the table. So bros, what do you think of my new workbench? It's like so meaty, so nice. It absorbs all of the shock. It's like super thick. After some time, it will get dirty, it will get beaten up, and I think it's going to look even better. This checker plate here is probably my favorite feature. It looks super DIY, but I really love it. It's a little sad to let our old friend go, but I think it's time to finally retire it. Look at this beautiful surface. I've built so many things on this table. It would be sad to just throw it away, so I think I have an idea for this surface. So, I've cut my old work surface into 20 pieces, and you can have one of these as a souvenir. I don't know, I just find these very beautiful. I think they tell a lot of stories, and the back of it is a little black, and that's from the fire that I've had in my first shop. I think you all remember that. You can hang it in your shop or your office. You can use this piece for a little build or something. So yeah, check out my Etsy store if you would like to have one of these. For myself, I think I'm gonna hang it somewhere in the shop as a memory. So as you all remember, in the beginning, I wanted to finish this build before New Year's, and probably by the time you're watching this, we are already in February. Builds like this, yeah, they take a lot of time for me. And also, if you're getting one of these, you're helping the channel, and this will also help fund my next build. Thank you for sticking around. Let me know in the comments what do you think of my new workbench. Maybe suggest some improvements. If you made it all the way till the end, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe. It helps my tiny channel grow, and thank you. See you in the next one. Bye.